Hello class, welcome to lesson 15 in module 3. Today we are going to be talking about the coordinate plane. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and zoom into the top half here for you to copy. And here we have the bottom half. Now today's lesson is pretty simple. You know a lot about the graph and the coordinate plane already, and like I said in class, which you hopefully remember is the graph and a coordinate plane we can use interchangeably. So today we're talking about the graph, the coordinate plane. So the question that hopefully we'll be able to answer at the end of today's lesson is this: what are some terms that will help me understand the coordinate plane? Pretty much today's lesson is just a laundry list of vocabulary words. So first off, vocab. Coordinate plane, like you've heard me say before, coordinate plane just means the graph itself. And the x-axis, which you recall when we talked about the ordered pairs, like for example here, here's an ordered pair. We have 4, 5, where the first value is your x-axis, or sorry, your x-coordinate. Your second value there is your y-coordinate. So, and you remember the x-coordinate is horizontal. So, putting all that together, we know that the x-axis is the horizontal axis on the number line. The y-axis is the vertical axis on the number line. And when we say axis, I just mean the two main number lines that get put together in order to make this graph. So those are your two axes. Okay. Now here is some words that you probably haven't used before. You probably heard coordinate plane, you probably heard x-axis and y-axis, but this is probably a new set, I would imagine, for most of us. It has to do with quadrants. The root word of quad, or quadrant, is quad, and quad means 4. So it means we are splitting this, we're splitting our coordinate plane here into 4 sections, or 4 quadrants. So quadrant 1 is the top right of the graph. Quadrant 2 is the top left of the graph. Quadrant 3 is the bottom left of the graph. Quadrant 4 is the bottom right of the graph. Now, a way that we can remember that is when we just started out working on number lines and working on like graphs in previous lessons that you work on graphs, you're really just most of the time working with this chunk of the graph right here, right? You've had this vertical line and you've got your horizontal line. And then on any graph, like if you do a bar graph or a line graph, you usually have this L shape, and then you have like bar graph, something like that. That would be a bar graph. Then you might find that you have like, oops, that's not what I meant to do. This, to erase it. Okay. So anyway. So that is where you usually start when it comes to learning how to graph things. So that is where we start counting our quadrants. So we will start in this top right. This is quadrant 1. Okay, and then we just move counterclockwise as we go. Quadrant 2, quadrant 3, quadrant 4. We really just have these titles on the quadrants in order to make it easier for us to describe in words where certain points belong on the coordinate plane. So it just gives us some more ways to talk about the coordinate plane itself. Quadrant 1 through 4. Down here we have one more vocabulary term, and that is origin. All right, and origin, as you probably know because you know English, is where something starts, where it comes from. So whenever we're plotting those ordered pairs on this coordinate plane, we start at the middle where those two axes cross, and then we count either to the right or the left depending on if that x-coordinate is positive or negative. So that's where we start. Therefore, the origin is right in the middle. So the definition, origin is where the x and the y coordinates are both 0. Another way you could think of it is where the x and the y axes cross. So 0, 0 is right there, smack dab in the middle. And then we have basically what we've done in this example, or this drawing down here, this diagram, is we placed all of our vocabulary words where they would go on the coordinate plane. So we've got our x-axis labeled here, which runs vertically. We've got our y-axis labeled, which runs horizontally. Got quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, quadrant 4. So that is all the notes for today. As I said earlier, it's just kind of a list of vocabulary. So when we come up here and says, what are some terms that will help me understand the coordinate plane, we have a list of a few of them there to make it easier for us to talk about it. That's really all we have for Lesson 15. Thank you very much, and goodbye.